Stu here for you, and we are back with a special treat because joining me today is Brian Singh. And Brian, welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by and chatting about your membership.
Hey, no problem, Stu. Thanks a lot for having me on. This is crazy. Like, if you would have told me a year ago that I'd be doing this, I'd be like, no, it's not happening. But that's crazy.
Well, dude, it's been a great year for you, and I'm excited to explore it. But before we do, let's talk about real quick, who is it that you serve in your market?
So I'm a volleyball coach. I'm a college coach in Toronto, and I basically have a signature membership program for coaches where I help them grow as coaches. I provide mentorship. I give them kind of behind the scenes to what we do in our gym so they can apply it to their gym. And I provide a community of other coaches where they can, collaborate and get a chance to, connect with coaches from not just their own local town, but anywhere around the world. So yeah, that's what I do to help volleyball coaches.
Well, shout out to my fellow Canuck in Toronto.
Yep.
I saw. So let's talk about your membership, because had you always had an idea that you wanted to create a membership for coaches?
So no, funny enough, I knew I wanted to create a membership in the volleyball space because that's my specialty. Like, I know volleyball, and funny enough, like when my daughter was born 2.5 years ago, all my time was spent in the gym working with athletes. And it's kind of like what you say. The only way I could grow that is if I continue to put more time and more hours and hours, and eventually you cap out. There's only so much you can do. So I had a choice. Like, I was realizing that, well, in order for me to grow this thing, I either stop spending time with my family and my daughter who was just born, or I have to do something. And that's kind of where I came across you, and I met you, and I was like, this membership thing may actually work for me. Let's look into this and see what this is about. So I started a membership before I even signed up for Tribe. I started a membership without knowing anything. And by the way, for those of you listening, I know zero about online business. I'm a teacher and coach. That's what I do. Nothing about online business. So I have no email list
for you.
Yeah, no email list. I didn't even know what an email list was, besides what you sign up at stores to join their mailing list. Like, that's to the extent that I know. And I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to put out to my Instagram, hey, I'm starting this membership. Here's what it's going to be about. And at that time, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I'm just like, hey, I'm a coach. You guys want me to train you? We'll come online and we'll do some stuff. So I had 20 people sign up for that. I don't know what that membership was, but it was 20 people signed up for it. And then it was serving volleyball players and coaches. I was just serving everybody. I was like, okay, let's serve volleyball coaches and players. So, that in itself was a bit of a problem, because my messaging was really, it's really tough to target both. You're talking to two different people. So it's very difficult to be able to talk to two different people at the same time. And
okay, can I pause you there for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
Because I think this is really like an important point. And I made the same mistake too. Like when I started my business, I was trying to help all entrepreneurs with all things marketing, right? And it's an uphill battle, because in that your messaging isn't breaking through to anybody. When you're trying to be everything to everyone, you become nothing to nobody. Look, my daughter, she's a little sneaky. She knows I'm interviewing, and she's grabbed my smoothie.
Hey, Marla.
But this is a really important point. So even though you had those 20 members that joined, I think I heard you say, like, you weren't really clear. It was just kind of like you were teaching a whole bunch of volleyball stuff to everybody that was in there.
Exactly. And then it actually took October of 2020. So I started my membership March of 2020, prior to Tribe, before I knew what launching was. And like, I didn't even know what a launch was. Okay. So what I called a launch then was just my Instagram. Here's what it is, done. So in October, and listening to you along with another triber, Jamie Bright, she really helped me with this too. She was like, okay, you can't do coaches and players. So I realized that my passion was really helping to grow the game. And in order for me to grow the game, if I help one coach, that can in turn be 12 to 14 players. And we grow this game, we get more people playing. And I really like that high level conversation. And I could bring more value to coaches than I could to players. So I made the switch. And I'll tell you, when I made that switch to just serving coaches, my membership 4x'd.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. It didn't make no sense to me. Like, all my launches. Now, mind you, my membership right now is 125 members. I'm not the great story of 0 to 6 figures in like a year. I'm not that. But what I am is a result of going through the process, just keep trying and figuring out what's working and testing. And when I did that, I had I went from like, I would get like 25 members in every launch. That went to 54 the minute that I switched. And then my revenue 4x because I had more people signing up for yearly memberships than, because the coaches are more generally, they're serious about their education. They want to learn, they want to dive in deeper. So the clientele was better, the conversation was better. And now my messaging was so much more clear, and my membership is going to be better because of it, because my deliverables are a lot better. And yeah, I could go on for a long time, but yeah, that's
okay. So first off, I want to pump the brakes on this this train of thought that, you know, it's not a big success. Dude, you have 125 members in your membership. That's a big deal, you know? Like,
Thanks.
I want to take a moment and just celebrate that. Like, that's a huge deal. And then the other side of this that is like, again, just really important for everybody watching and listening, is to, when we narrow down who specifically we are serving, it becomes easier to attract those people. And also, as you said, easier to serve those people, because now your language that you're using is more specific, more direct. The content is more relevant. And so the whole experience improves when you begin niching down. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about this, because when you made that decision, what was going through your mind as you went into that launch that was just focused on coaches?
Well, I was scared because I was taking away, you know, like the way I was looking at it was, well, on a volleyball team, you have 12 to 14 players and one coach. Why would I focus on the one coach instead of the 12 to 14 players? That's what I thought, right?
Yeah, there's more players than there are coaches.
Exactly. But then, you know, just trusting the process and understanding really who I am and who I want to serve and what my overall mission is. You know, my mission is to grow the game. I want more people playing volleyball. And because I think the sport is nowhere where it could be. And I love working with coaches. So I sat back and I'm like, you know, for this overall picture, what's going to serve better for me? Well, it's going to be coaches. And I'm so thankful that I made that decision. And I came to a realization that even if I failed, let's not use the word fail. Even if I learned that maybe this is going to be tougher than I thought it was going to be, maybe I wouldn't get 25, maybe I would get 5 coaches. Let's just say I got 5 coaches. Would I be happy with that? And I was like, yeah, you know what? I actually would be, because I'm doing what I want. It's better. Like, I'm getting more value. I'm helping more people.
Multiplied effect.
Yeah. So, you know, for me, that's kind of the way I looked at it.
And so you made this shift in October, and then how have you launched since then?
Yeah. So I made this. It's really funny. When I decided to go for coaches and I made that realization, I launched a week later. I was like, let me try this out. I want to try it. I'm like, I can't wait to try it. So I didn't do Facebook ads. I didn't do anything. All I did was put it to my Instagram story, and I had an email list at that time, and I put it in a coach's Facebook group. 3 places. That's it. And without any ads, without anything.
That's crazy, dude.
I 4x'd. And at that point, I was like, why didn't I do this earlier? It was nuts.
Well, okay, so you're a year into this journey now, just over a year into this journey. I want to talk about, like, what have you learned in this process? Obviously, you know, I would say the biggest lesson, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like narrowing down, you know, who you're targeting. But what other things have you learned in this process of growing your membership from, you know, 0 to over 100 plus members?
So there's a lot. I want to say, okay, so a couple of things, and I'll say, this is the things that you've taught me. It's not about getting it right, it's about getting it going. I can't tell you enough. Like, if I didn't just get it going and keep going and building momentum, there's no way I'd be at 120 something members. I wouldn't even be at 50. It was like, you know, not that prolonging. And I didn't know what I was doing. That's the thing. I didn't know what I was doing. So during Tribe, I was figuring it out as I was so anxious for those modules to be released. I'm like, come on, like, release the next week. And then, you know, so I can continue going. One of the fears I had, and I think a lot of people have this fear, is that every month you have to come up with a monthly deliverable. Like, I'm sorry, I'd rather do a digital course where it's just a one-time thing. I'm done. I can sit back and, you know, and I was worried about the monthly deliverable thing. I'll be honest with you. But, you know, in Tribe, you guys teach us a ton of different ways of doing monthly deliverables. And what I found is that because I'm teaching volleyball, it's a skill-based activity. Well, I know a lot up here. Like, I've been coaching the game for years. I know a lot about the game. So the easiest thing to do is live trainings once a month. So what I did was, instead of trying to come up with a new deliverable every single month, I got to create a new course, or I got to add something. let me just teach something every month. It takes me no time at all to come up with a 10 PowerPoint, because I'm only teaching for 40 minutes. It doesn't take a lot of time at all. And if I batch produce, which is what you teach, if I just sit down one day and bang out like 3 or 4 lessons, that's 4 months of content right there. So I know this stuff already, and it gets even better. So what I'll do is I'll poll my group. Hey guys, what do you want to learn about next month? What can I talk about next month that you're interested in? They'll give me a bunch of ideas. I'm like, okay, I can talk about this. No problem. No problem. No problem. Boom. I just have monthly deliverables for like 6 months, just done. So the time it takes me to create content is minimal. It doesn't take a lot of time at all. Like, memberships. I'm sure if I was to give you a topic in memberships, you could talk about it for hours.
Right.
I could do the same thing for volleyball. So I don't have to really struggle and, oh my God, every month I'm stressed about what am I going to give my members next month? It's whatever they want and whatever I want to talk about. And that's it. It was the greatest thing.
And I love this too, Brian, because again, this is one of those things where, like, when you have a strategy in place, like a content strategy like this, asking your audience, collecting those ideas and batch producing them, it becomes almost like a game. Like, that's how I, look at it. It's like a game. Like, how far, ahead can I get? And it does become a process where it's not, all consuming. Like, there's ways to do memberships that 100% are super complex, really heavy, like are not a whole lot of fun whatsoever. But I don't want to do that. I know you don't want a membership that's gonna, be a drag and another job. We want to create it so that we can serve the people in a way that, like, is easy for them to consume the content and use it, and it's easy for us to produce it. So I just love love that you are sharing this, and I love that that's a huge takeaway, because once you get into the rhythm, it becomes so much more fun in the process.
Right. And then, because I'm a volleyball coach, and I'm sure many of your listeners are, experts in their fields or are really good at a skill. Well, behind the scenes is a great deliverable that you can do. So we'll do like behind the scenes at a practice, behind the scenes at a film session, behind the scenes at a game. So I bought a mic off Amazon years ago, really cheap. I just mic myself up, and that's it. I just mic myself up.
That's amazing.
At the end of the day, like after a game, like, you're a fan of basketball. We know this, right? We're a big Toronto Raptors fan. Yeah. How much do you love when you hear the inside tracks in a game?
Oh, totally.
Like, when it's cool, right? So I figured, like, why can't I bring that experience to my members? And they love it. So after a game, like, I'll be mic'd up and whatever, and then I'll edit that out and stuff, and I'll upload it as a deliverable for like a playoff game or a big game or whatever. And they get to hear what I'm saying in the huddles, on the bench, during the game. So it doesn't take anything extra for me. I got to get the game anyways.
I absolutely love this. I love this. So my understanding so are you setting up like a camera somewhere so they can kind of see, and then you've got you're mic'd up to it, and then you're just taking that footage afterwards and you're just editing it down and providing that as a deliverable.
That's it. And if you have help, like if you're fortunate enough to have a VA, you don't even have to do it. The VA does it. And that's it. So yeah, and so my wife will actually she'll be in the fans, or she'll be somewhere close by on the bench, and she'll just have my iPhone, just an iPhone with that's it. Just have it set up where she can hold it, and that's it.
Dude, I love the simplicity of this. I absolutely love it. And you're right. Like, I know for me, I just watched last night, like, of course, I'm a big basketball fan. So Luka Doncic was playing Ja Morant, and Ja was mic'd up, and he was guarding him, and Luka was moving. I'm just like, it's so cool to hear, like what they're talking about on the court and what's happening. And you're right. Like, I mean, even afterwards, like, I could see how that footage too, it could be a fun thing for you to do, like an analysis and, all kinds of stuff like that. But again, to your point, you're not creating anything necessarily. Like, that's you in the moment in the game. You're just using it as a jumping off point to do some teaching.
Exactly. And I bet there's people listening that are going to start memberships. I bet they can do that in their membership. Doing like maybe behind the scenes, if you're an artist, behind the scenes, if you doing a canvas, like, what are you saying? What are you thinking about? What are you like? That's it. And it doesn't take anything else out of you.
It's interesting. One of the membership sites that I created in the past with New York Times bestselling author Michael Hyatt, we had a deliverable that was called the Backstage Pass. And similarly, it was kind of like the behind the scenes of like how we were doing stuff. And, the funniest part about this, one of the most popular Backstage Pass segments was how he packs his suitcase when
I
he's
remember this guy.
leaving to go for a speaking engagement. Like
Yeah.
the suitcase itself, how he packs it so his stuff doesn't
Yeah.
get wrinkled. Like people were so fascinated. And admittedly, like after watched it, I bought the suitcase that he was using. But it's fascinating when you see like the behind the scenes, like what people are thinking, what they how they're doing it. And so I just love how you've structured this. So number one, you big lesson, really narrow down your market. Number two, really nailing down your content strategy, specifically like making it easy for you and easy for your people, batch producing that content. Is there anything else that you have found to be a big takeaway from the past year?
Yeah, launch debriefs. That's another big one for me that I was really, after I understood, like, so when you do a launch, it's not just about doing the launch and when it's over, great, let's move on to something else. It's actually understanding your numbers, your conversions, knowing what they mean. And when you can manipulate the data and understand what the data means, it will provide you with the information you need to grow your membership, get ready for your next launch, and so forth. So, I mean, I didn't like last year, I didn't know what a launch was. And now I'm talking about launch debriefing, which is crazy, So the launch debrief was definitely another big takeaway, I would say. And I think the last one, or another big one that I would say is, so the launching, I would say, what would be my next one? We'll keep it at those three. Those are the big ones, I think.
Well,
yeah.
I just I'm loving what you're doing. I love how you structured the membership. And again, I want to celebrate, dude. Like from 0 members to more, was 127 now?
A little bit above 125. Yeah, I think it's around 127.
Dude, this is amazing. That is amazing. And it's something to be super proud of. And I just think what I love about the number one lesson in this is that I think we all experience this at some point, which is like, we want to try to help everybody. And in doing that, it becomes very, very difficult to try to help anybody. I saw Cammie had a comment here too. She said, I actually even know this for my own clients, and yet I waffle. And she just said, yay, Brian and Stu. And it's common. It's common. And so Cammie, like, this is a common thing. I made the mistake. This is why I appreciate Brian sharing, because it is scary. It is scary to think like narrowing down, is actually going to mean we're going to make more progress. But I remember when my mentor and friend Reed Tracy said, Stu, forget trying to help all entrepreneurs. Like just focus on helping those who want to add recurring revenues. Like, this is what you have been doing, and I was just like, really? Like, there's, you really think there's going to, the market's going to be there? And it's the same fear that you experience. Like, wait a minute, there's a lot more players than there are coaches, but the messaging becomes better. It becomes easier to attract your people and easier to serve them. So thank you so much for coming. Do you have any final thoughts for everybody?
Yeah, you know what? I just came up with a couple more things as you're speaking in terms of the lessons. So I also learned that there's no right or wrong way to launch. There's so many different ways to launch. You got to figure out what's best for you. I like webinars because webinars just make sense for me. So don't get caught up on the launch style. And the other thing, don't get caught up on the technology. Like, what platform do I use? Do I go with Kajabi or Teachable or Thinkific or MemberVault or whatever? Like, pick one and go. Because to be quite honest, that's not going to make or break your membership at all. Like, it's just not, right?
Yeah.
And then, those are the two that I think when I was just starting out, I was hung up on those two bigger than anything else. And those are the ones that I'd say, Dad, don't stress about it. Just pick one and go.
Well, and it's interesting too, because like when you're talking about like finding, the launch style that you feel most comfortable with, that's 100% it. Like, there are 1,000,001 things that you can do, but in the beginning, just like find the things that are easiest for you to get started with, because that's what's going to create momentum. You can add stuff later on in the next launch and a launch after that. But like, the most important thing, as you've said over and over again here, is just to get going, because in that is where you're going to learn the most. So, dude, thank you so much for coming through. Where can people find out more about you and your membership?
Oh, well, if you're a volleyball coach out there, you can go to digitalvolleyballacademy.com and sign up for the waitlist. We're going to be opening up doors in 2 weeks, I believe.
Nice. Yeah. Well, you have to keep us posted, man, because you're gonna soar past that 150 member mark in no time.
I hope so. Man.
Well, listen, thank you so much for coming by, Brian. I really appreciate you. No Congratulations on your membership. And I can't wait to see where you are 6 months from now, 12 months from now.
No problem. And listen, anyone out there that's thinking about Tribe or just, considering it, listen, it changed my life for the better. I'm able to spend more time with my family. I have a membership that is not draining. I have a business that doesn't require tens and hours and hours and hours a day. It fits my lifestyle. It works for me. And again, before Tribe, I knew nothing about the online business world. Nothing. What is a launch? What is an email list? What is a lead magnet? Like, what is a success path? What is nothing? And I'm fortunate enough to be able to have 125 members and growing. And the funny thing is that my first year, that's where I made all the mistakes. I knew nothing. So a year into it, where now I'm getting into rhythm, I'm in momentum now, where it should continue to grow. It wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for the experience that I had with Tribe and so forth. So, I mean, when I think you have that workshop coming up on the 22nd, right?
Well, I appreciate. Yeah, totally. Thank you for that. Yeah. If anybody watching, if you've got an idea for a membership, but you're just not sure, like, how to make it work for your market, or how, what type of membership would fit for your business, I want you to come to this workshop. It starts on April 22nd. We host this one time a year. It's coming up. This is it. It's all free. And the key thing here is that not only will you get the clarity around like how to move forward, but we're going to talk about what do you deliver in the membership and how do you attract those members and a whole lot more. Plus, you're going to hear stories like Brian's of real people who are launching their memberships in all kinds of different markets. Not only will you be inspired, you'll get tremendously clear about how to move forward, and you'll gain a ton of momentum, because last year, for the first time ever, we held this workshop live. And oh my goodness, the energy from this workshop was like off the charts, and more people launched their memberships during the free workshop than ever before. So I really want to encourage you, come join us. Go to membershipworkshop.com. Registration is open. It's all free. Everything starts next week, April 22nd. I can't wait. So Brian, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate you. No problem, and thanks everybody for watching and listening. And I can't wait to see you next week. Take care.
See ya.